Hello and welcome to Natural Balance. I'm your host, Mia Sines. In this episode, you get to meet Christine Miskinis. And when I say you get to meet, I really mean you get to meet an amazing woman. I really, and you guys know I give you background story. I really love this woman because she's gone from, as you'll hear her story, she's gone from the point of almost, going into precancer, or she had precancer in her throat, to healing it, to stepping into her mission in life, to teaching women to rock their voice, to expanding greatness. It's not just about how much money I can make in this world. It's about who can I serve, who can I become, and what kind of a difference can I make. So I want to share with you Christine Miskinis. Welcome. I love her so much.
You, my love.
So with that, would you like to add on to some of your some of the things that you want the audience to know about you and the work that you do?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mia, for doing this. This is part of the work I do. So anytime that I'm invited into a beautiful series or an opening, an expansion, a way to really get my voice out there in the world, I'm a total yes. And that's something that I feel really passionate about. So after my own awakening, which we might get into today, right? Then came the looking outside into our world and saying, where are the women's voices? Like, where are we represented? And every time I found myself in some type of an institution or a system or a job, right? It was like I kept looking for the women that I could look to. And unfortunately, I saw the missing gaps. And so that's when I just became so ignited to say, as an entrepreneur, knowing these women with the purpose and the passion and the missions and all the pain that now has become their stories and their messages, we need to hear that. We need more women leaders out in the world sharing our voices. So that's my work, is really both personally and professionally, as it would happen in my own life, igniting the voices of women.
It's really powerful to ignite the rock on, baby. It's really powerful to ignite this in women because you had a beautiful event at the beginning of this year, Rock It Out Woman. And one of the main takeaways that I had from it, I was honored to be speaking. One of the main takeaways that I got from it was from our keynote speaker, and the powerful, which is Marianne Williamson. And for her to get Marianne Williamson on the stage with us was like, wow. Chris is amazing here. I call her Chris, but her name is Christine. So the thing about stepping into your vision that I want Christine to elaborate on is when Marianne was saying, because this is what this whole event lit me on fire, but what has changed my message is Marianne saying if each woman takes one cause, one thing that her heart settles into and changes the world with it, what kind of a place we would be living in. So I see Christine synonymous with this empowered. When I think of Wonder Woman, I think of Christine. And so I also have one other girlfriend that I think of like that. So both of you are just like my little fancy people up here that I'm like, wow, they're so cool. So with this message of empowering a woman to speak her voice, to get through to the other side, let's talk about that. And I know that it's your mission. And so we know about the pre-cancer stuff if you want to get into part of your story there to share, but how empowered you are sharing this message with the world.
Yes. Awesome. So, first, to be completely transparent, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for like 5 years now and really grown my business and have a team of about 4 people now. So very, very simplistic, very organic as it has evolved, right? And so for me, this whole process of finding my voice then became my mission in life and therefore developed into this business and this movement. Mm-hmm. And so a little backstory about, well, what is she talking about? What happened with the voice and all of that? Well, I was a young woman, overachiever, really good girl who wanted to find her way. And I have a theater and speaking degree as well as an education degree. And so I was working as a teacher in the daytime, and at nighttime I was doing my musical theater and out there and expressing myself and all of this. And aside from that, as a 20-something-year-old, right, I was like checking off all of the boxes. Okay, so got the degree, got the master's, going for the master's, you know, dating, socializing, working part-time, tutoring, doing these organization things out in the world and all of that. And honestly, what was happening was I was just burning out. I was running myself around. It was like every moment of my day was filled, and I was in my 20s doing this. I was just listening to what everyone else said a woman needed to be. You need to be independent. You need to make sure you have money. You have to have a really good job that has some type of social security and also tenure and all of these things. And I was trying to fit into the mold. And so when I already was suffering from lifetime sensitivities in my digestive area, the doctors came and they did biopsies and they said, you have precancer growing up into your esophagus from years of digestive issues. And it's something we see in people 80 and older, not in their 20s. And so life expectancy is really a thing here. And Mia, this was 15 years ago. So at the time I was teaching, and the women who did have breast cancer, those mothers of my children, were not living. So when the doctors said that to me that day, what happened was this, ladies. I looked at my doctor and I said, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next pill? What's the next procedure? How can you fix me, help me, save me, right? Like literally. And he literally put up his hands and said, there's nothing we can do right now. Keep taking your medicine. When it becomes cancer, we will go in, we'll cut out, we'll womp, 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 womp. I heard nothing else. And I could feel that like, help me, save me, fix me thing, right? That icky energy. And when he was like, no, I could feel my soul inside my body go and like a hand filling out a glove, I literally felt the fullness of who I really am as a soul. And everything went quiet, and I heard my inner voice say, go off and allow your body to heal. All is well.
Wow.
And
Powerful.
I just looked at him and said, okay. I'm going to go, and I'm going to allow my body to heal and pay attention and give it. I didn't know what that meant. At 15 years ago, 24, I wasn't saying things like all is well kind of jargon, and so I just got the message. And after that moment, I left the doctor's office, and in a few days, I met a mentor. And she was a holistic nutritionist, and what she helped me to do was really honor myself, my space, my time, and clean out all of the things that weren't working for me.
Right.
And so, even though you might be like, really? What? Like all that rushing around and that being frantic and, thinking I needed to look a certain way, act a certain way, speak a certain way for everyone else, so that I can meet all those expectations. And then the food was a really big thing. So intuitively, I knew I didn't feel good with certain foods, but I was going to eat them anyway because, nobody told me not to. So there I was, drinking Diet Coke, eating Smart Ones and Weight Watchers meals just because it was easy and I thought it was healthy, all of these things. And so as we started to peel everything back, as I started to eat the food from the earth, just more fruits and vegetables, more water, what happened was those Snickers cravings went away. And the candy and the ice cream no longer needed it. And what opened up was the world, a stillness, a simplicity. I could feel the divine suddenly. I wasn't always like trapped in. Bless you.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
This story is so powerful. You know that I'm a big energy person.
Yes, I know.
It's my throat feels trapped from the. So if you guys are feeling this, just cough it out, rinse it out, and know that it's just part of the process of eliminating the garbage. And her story is not garbage, but the energy of the cancer of stopping us is the garbage. Sorry, go ahead.
I know. And so it was perfect because it was a purification, a very cleansing process, and it was a lot simpler than I thought. You know, back then I was drinking juice every day, making fresh juice, and I was choosing to eat only organic because my body was very sensitive. And people still were like, well, I don't know. She's only eating organic food, and you know, she's juicing, and she got really skinny. You know, because I come from the Italian and Spanish family, they want to feed you pasta and sauce and bread.
Yeah.
And yet, they honored my voice because of the disease. You know, the disease, like everyone loved me, and they wanted me to be healthy, so that they didn't understand. They were more open. And as they saw my life like really start to develop in the richness and the fullness, I became more of a human. More, you know, I've always been so spiritual, but spiritual sometimes means we go like up and out, and we could live up here in the ethers, and like we could see so much, and we could tap into the angels and the divine, and so we have this wisdom. But to bring it into your body, and to use your voice, which I discovered is the bridge of your inner connection and your outer expression.
Love that.
I had this tool, I had this gift. So as an actor, singer, speaker, teacher, when you hear like they're going to cut the cords and do all these things with your voice, it's like,
yeah.
How was I not honoring my voice? Like, I don't need that to happen in order to get I got the lesson. This is really about me honoring my truth, my voice, speaking up. And so it started with the doctors, Mia. The second part was this. I went back to the doctors after 3 months. They did more biopsies as they had to do. The doctor comes out so excited. He's like, Christine, good news. You have scar tissue, which means you are healing. And now there's no more new growth present. So there's actually nothing left to biopsy. And the medicine is working.
The medicine.
Here I am, just discovered this new truth about how powerful our bodies really can heal. How if we tune in, when we carry the messages, the codes, the wisdom that we all have, when we can honor and allow that, right? How we can share that with others, and how we literally can heal ourselves and others just by being this, right? So I was like, no, doctor, wait, it wasn't the medicine. I told you the medicine wasn't working all this time, but here's what I did instead. And again, I got the
the medicine is working.
God love him, because, you know, here I am like, what? And he's like, wait a minute. You're not taking the medicine, so I can't treat you. And now here I am, right? Here's the world as we know it. Here's everything that now he's ready to say to me. I'm like, wait a minute, you're my doctor. I come to you to help me heal. I'm healing, and now you don't want to hear it. And so he's like, Christine, and he could tell, like it was right there. And he said, okay, listen, I go to school. I went to medical school all those years. And what we learned through medical school is to prescribe these prescriptions that help our clients and our patients. And I'm like, he's like, so if you don't take my prescription for healing, you know, I cannot treat you. And I could see him confined in the system where he was educated, where he grew, where he learned. And there was something within me in that moment that got it and honored his voice and his truth, right? Because the truth is, medicine does heal and cure many diseases and many things. However, what I was experiencing a lifetime, this was not about that. And I took the medicine initially, and it wasn't assisting me. So for me, it was something else. And for most disease, it is about the dis-ease in the body, right? And so, you know, doctors today are more apt and more open. And in fact, the woman that supported me, she's now training doctors in NYU. So it goes to show, all right? So it's a little outdated, the story, but not really. You can plug it into any area. And so I said, okay, doctor, I get it. And I won't be needing you anymore because I'm okay now. And I left. And since then, I have not looked back. I have not had any episodes. And the greatest gift that came to me was really honoring my voice.
That's beautiful. And you proved, we have a few other people talking about food as medicine. You proved that food is medicine. Good food is our medicine.
Oh, yes. And
I mean,
so,
yes, you worked it on a up leveled place too, but the food, the good, clean food, the organic food is the medicine that our body needs. In addition to the other, you know, changing of consciousness and awareness and that stuff too. But that's really beautiful. I love that.
yes. And that's also like the gift that God has given us. So after I had this big awakening and the doctor was like, well, I can't listen. I'm like, okay, here I am, a New York City public school teacher. I'm teaching children and I keep seeing these disorders, right? Coming, ADD, ADHD, all these things. And I started paying attention now, right? Because I started really looking around and I said, wow, these kids are coming back from lunch and they're like, and I'm,
Mm.
okay, we have to do math. And I keep saying, these are our offspring. What's wrong with our offspring, and why isn't anybody else concerned about this, And what I found was the same thing in the educational system. Other teachers didn't know how to handle it, didn't know what to do, accepted it as this is just what it is.
Mm.
And I couldn't. I went back to school, studied nutrition. I became mom's coach, and I started supporting the mothers in recovering the health of the children just with food alone. So you want to talk about food and God's gift and all of that. And then, when I did that, I also learned that it's not just about the food either. So, because then I was like, okay, I can help the moms with the food, with the children. And then I started, the moms were helping the children. Children are easy to recover. They have less of all the things that we have taken on. They have less years in this world, right? And so they were losing weight. They had more energy. They were sleeping better. Their skin was, clearing up and all of this. The behavioral issues were changing. And I was sitting with the mothers like, well, what's going on here? The woman. And so again, the woman with the voice for the child, for the family. And I always say, Mia, I believe the women are the spiritual leaders of their families. And I love our men, and it's in service of our men. I have a daughter and a son and a husband. So, I say these things in love, but it's true. I see how everything comes from the woman in the homes. And so it became my mission then to give the women a voice about everything. The voice is so healing when we can express all that we've carried, all that we've been inside, that connection that we've had or disconnection, and then give it a voice and share it, and then others can hear it and witness us. There's beautiful healing in that too.
It's beautiful. I love the whole aspect of it. You went through an evolution, right? And so you got to this place. I love the fact that you're not afraid to step up and say, yeah, let's take it another step further. Okay, let's take it another step further. Let's go even further. Those are the places that we, not just the sisterhood, but the humanity of women and men, we need to step up to support each other. There's so much talk, and I'm one who does it too, about the sisterhood. It's so fabulous and all this, but literally we need to support our men, like you were saying. The women are the backbone of the family, but we need to support our men as well. So I love that you do the whole scope of things. Would you like to share, and we're going to talk a little bit more, but would you like to share your free gift with us?
Oh, yeah.
And in the meantime, I think I need to raise my chair because I think I'm shrinking. I'm sorry, guys. This is my secondary shoot place because sometimes I can't shoot in my main one. There I am. I'm a real person again. I grew. Never done that on air, but that's okay.
Yes. That I have to offer, and you might feel it now too, is for your voice, and it's for rocking your voice. It's called a Rock Your Voice session. It's about 20 minutes with me privately, so we can see, feel, hear what is it that your voice wants to say. What have you been carrying? What have you been not allowed to say in your life? What have you been preparing to say? What have you wanted to share with our world? What is your message? It can, like I said, it's what happened with me. It's the same thing. It's personal and it's professional. It's so connected because your voice is your energy. It's an energetic tool. It's an exchange. It's an expression. It's like a blueprint. It's like a thumbprint. When you hear the voice of Oprah, you know that's Oprah's voice because she speaks her soul's voice.
Mm-hmm.
So my intention is to assist you in bringing that voice, which is the fullness of who you are, out. And believe it or not, it doesn't take a long time to do that. Once you connect to it, sort of like that day when I could feel the fullness and hear the message and speak my truth, it was like I was unleashed. There was no turning back. And the same is true for you, loves. So that's my gift to you. We'll spend some time together. You know, you just come as you are and you share in a sacred, beautiful space and actually honor and hear sometimes and witness your own voice for the first time.
I love that. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. So you've worked with a lot of women over the last several years. Excuse me. And I saw on Facebook today, you were posting, I did too, but you were talking about how you've changed the assistant with women. You were talking about some emails that had come in. Can you give people examples so that they can understand the bridge crossing, the whole thing? Can you give them examples of just, you don't have to give names, of course, and all that, but simple examples of people's experiences that have shifted? Because people might not understand the empowerment of our voice until they see, oh, well, so-and-so went through this, and, you know, and then they came out to this side.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's hard to, not hard, but it's interesting how we really identify with the voice and the power of the voice. And I always say the men are very physical. You know, they have the rah-rah and they're going to go out and do the things and whatever. We don't have that strength physically. We don't even have that energy physically. That's exhausting. We're not meant to push and fight like that. We're meant to dance and flow and be musical and have that type of healing, intuitive energy. And so it's so different in the aspect of what a woman is. I always say the power of a woman is her voice. It's found in her voice. Literally, she can move mountains by speaking her truth. And so what happens for my clients when they start to like really speak up, healing within their marriages, in their relationships, and this level of authenticity where you do not have to pretend, again, to be somebody, to have it a certain way, to be so structured and so strict and so together, because all of that is just a facade. It's a false sense of security to check all the boxes and have all the things. And hi, overachiever here, you know, type A, perfectionist, I know. And just because I could do it, people will tell you, well, don't keep doing that. You're amazing. You're great. No. And you're burning yourself out, or you feel hollow inside. And so when my clients connect to their truth, it's like, it's not so much what they say, but it is what they say, because they become very simplistic in what they say, very clear, very concise. And when you hear their words, you're like, whoa, okay. You just said that. All right. Wow. Like there's no, oh, but you know, I'd like to maybe someday, when my kids get older, or, you know, all that stuff that we do because we've learned to do it. This is not the time. So my clients experience, I mean, things from weight loss to promotions to being on TV to being in publications and featured. Why? Because suddenly their voice is so clear. It's cutting through all the noise in the world, getting right to the heart. So it's your soul's voice. It's your heart's voice. And when you speak it, you cannot be ignored. People ask, what exactly did you say to Marianne Williamson? But Mia knows because she spoke, and Marianne spoke after her and was like, yes, it is this language of love, you know? And so even someone like Marianne Williamson heard Mia speaking and was compelled to, after, bring attention to Mia's speech. Like, right? She didn't make it like, oh, this is the Marianne Williamson and I'm gonna, like, that's not how women are. Women are like this. I see you. You're amazing. I love you. I honor you. You know, and that's what happens when women do this work. It's like, their truth is unleashed. All of the stress just comes down. They have this stillness. They have this return to themselves in a world that is so unknown and so erratic and so noisy. they become the silent warrior who is like, don't mess with me. Because I know my truth and I know what I stand for. You can come yelling all those things and making all these, fancy pony shows, but not in my house. That's not going to go down. And it causes everyone else to kind of be like, straighten up, be in integrity, cut those games that you play around. So I just love it because for me, it feels more like a mothering energy, but speaking can also be a masculine thing as well, because like I said, you're very clear, you're concise, you're direct, and so it really is a tool for transformation.
It's beautiful. I love it. And a woman who can stand in her own grace and power and speak and feel the ripples that are going off of her into other women's experiences, it's one of the most powerful things. We don't do it because of the fame or the glory. We do it because we love so deeply. We want people's lives to change. Yeah. So it's so amazing.
And this is one little thing, because this came to me as you're speaking. I've noticed, even for you and your voice, it has become clearer. And so the last piece is this, ladies, we've really learned to become like people pleasers. I don't know if I was clear with saying that before, but we've learned to really alter what we want to say, alter the truth, and to make everyone else feel comfortable or, okay, or loved, and that's really just the codependent kind of icky energy of the ways it used to be. It's no longer like that. You'll see it. And Mia, I notice, especially with business and the way you're supporting people today, it just feels so clear. And it does feel a little more masculine because it's safe and structured and very matter of fact of this is how it is. And there's no BS about that. And so here's where we have that respect. When I hear Mia's voice standing and speaking in this way, it might not always be like, oh, that was so soft. Oh, that was so good. It might not. Sometimes it's like that tough love too. It's like this, here. This is how it is. Attention.
Right. That was beautiful. I loved how you just said that. I'm like, oh, I just love this woman. It was so great to have you. What would you like to share? Now we got your free gift, and one last thing? I mean, you've given us so much, but what one last thing would you like to leave the audience with?
You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are unique. And you are the source of every experience that you have. If you're the source of every experience that you have, that's how much power you have. And those experiences can be wonderful and brilliant and woo, or they can be really dark and deep. But knowing that you are the source at any point in time, and there's really only right now, you can reclaim that power. You can show up authentically and you could start speaking your truth, and you will watch your whole world transform. Healing, very simplistically, balance. It doesn't look like the balance that we know, but it is a peace, a resilience, a presence, and a power like you've never known before, and it's yours.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on with us, Christine.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in another episode of Natural Balance. Bye. Lovely. That was awesome.